Assalamualaikum everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Voice of the Present. Our guest today is Alawi Masud, a recent UMD graduate and the Program Manager for Advocacy and Public Policy Leadership at ILIA. His work focuses on helping the youth advocate for their community through ILIA certification and intern mentor program. He's gone over 25 youth to work on Congress and Palestinian rights and hold community reforms on the U.S. prison industrial complex. So Alawi, I just want to thank you first by joining us and making time in your day.
Anytime. It's a nice Saturday, so I got nothing else going on.
And just generally speaking, what does advocacy and public policy mean?
Yeah, so there's two statements to it. Like there's public policy, which we all understand is like legal reforms and reforms within the system that we currently live in. And then advocacy is more of a general output. Advocacy can be translated into speaking out for your community, doing community work, et cetera, et cetera. So it's really both of those ideas put into one.
And why do you think it's so important for youth to be educated on both of these topics?
Yeah, so a lot of times people are missing one side or the other. So people might be doing advocacy, but not realize how public policy works. And sometimes people might know how public policy works, but not know how advocacy works, right? And really an interplay between these two systems, understanding the community and understanding the system are both vitally important in getting things done, right? So without these two parts, like you're missing one half.
And so what gave you the idea and just the inspiration to start this program?
So I'll tell you the story of how I got here in the first place, right? I was broke. I was doing an internship, I think last year, and the internship was unpaid, right? So I was sitting here broke. Like I remember like driving home and being like, I need gas. Wait, I don't got enough gas money. So I started driving slow on 95 in order to try and make it on like the last dot. And then I was like, man, because this internship wasn't paying, my money was running out. So I hit up Ayman Nassar, I call him Ammu Ayman, the president, not of the founder of ILIA. And I was like, hey, Ammu Ayman, do you have a job by any chance that I could have? Like I was expecting to be like a pizza place type of job or like some sort of like, you know, like one of those like retail type jobs. And then he was like, yeah, sure, like send me over your resume, let's see what you got. And I sent over my resume and he was like, wow, you would be great for advocacy, public policy, leadership. I'm like, what is it? Well, I don't know what that means, right? And he was like, here, let's get on a call and explain to you what's going on. And he explains to me what's going on. I still kind of didn't understand what's going on, but I was like, all right, yeah, I need a job. So I just said yes. And then after we worked on some initiatives, after we talked about what was going on, he mentored me through the process. I was like, I actually really like what I'm doing, you know? It was a lot better than my old internship. I'm gonna be real with you. That internship, all I did was like sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day and type stuff in the Excel sheet, and I was not getting paid to do it. I hated that place, right? But for this one, I was doing like work, you know? I was creating solutions to problems, and that was really cool to me. So I didn't continue with the internship. I just did this, and here we are now, a year later.
And so you mentioned your journey, but have you faced any challenges in either creating the course or directing it, and how did you overcome them?
This is a issue that everybody will have most times in their life, and that's working with other people. That's always a strong issue. And one of the biggest things when it comes to communication, right, is that I may know what I'm talking about, but you don't know what I'm talking about. So my job is to communicate properly to you. And sometimes that can be really frustrating. You'll be like, why is this idiot not understanding what I'm saying? You know, there's like fists come up sometimes, you know. I'm waving with that to me. But what happened is, like, in order to be a good leader, and leader doesn't mean like in a leadership position. Leader just means like being able to work with other people correctly, right? You have to make that clear. You have to be clear, and you have to make sure that other people understand what you're talking about, because that's one of the key things when it comes to communications. And it took a long time to get there, to understand how to get there. Like I had it previously, my other experiences, but ILIA really put that into gear. Like ILIA was like really like, you have to be communicating correctly, or nothing's gonna happen. So that was a skill I really, really worked on, and I'm better now. I might still want to swing on people here and there, but it's a lot better now.
Well, that's good to hear, alhamdulillah. And the last thing I have for you is, what's the main thing you'd like for your students to take away from this course?
I think the main thing is there's a feeling that you get when you're working in like community effort that you don't get when you're working on yourself, right? When you're working with the community on a project, and working with the community just doesn't mean like helping the homeless, et cetera, et cetera. It means like really like being in the deep with the community, you know, like day and night in the community, and you're working towards a goal in order to help people, right? You get a feeling of gratefulness, almost, of a happiness that you don't experience when you work by yourself. It's almost like a peace, like an eternal peace. And if my kids or the people that I work with experience that peace that comes from working on something bigger than your own, that happiness that you get from working on something bigger than your own, that would I'd be happy. I'd be incredibly happy if they felt that.
Well, Jazakallah khairan. That's all the questions I have for you today. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Anytime, yeah.
Do you have anything else you'd like to add, or any comments or anything?
No, I'd like to say thank you for doing this, for highlighting leaders, well, not within ILIA, but also outside ILIA, in order for everybody to get a full perspective of what's going on. So thank you for having me on the show. I'm glad to be here. But yeah, thank you.
Okay, well, assalamu alaikum. Have a great day.
Anytime.